Today we're going to do a segment on traffic court. Are you familiar with traffic court?
I've spent a lot of my life in it.
and were you successful in your efforts in traffic court, Ted?
Quite a few of them. In fact, I'm 100% against Williamson County. I'm pretty proud of that.
I mean, you've won in Williamson County on your traffic tickets.
One of them.
How much time did you have to spend on the concrete floor to get there?
Not near enough.
No, I mean, when they put you in jail and you get to sleep on the cold concrete floor in Williamson County, how much time did you spend there?
Not very much.
What did you do in Williamson County that you beat them?
What I did in Williamson County, they stopped me for having, I don't know what it was they actually stopped me for.
And they don't have to have a reason?
No, but
no probable cause?
But they said that it was because I was driving with a suspended license.
How would they know that until they stopped you?
Well, they didn't, and that's why I don't know what they stopped me for. I think they just wanted to be mean that night.
I see.
They get a mean streak.
You're in Williamson County, after all. Fair game.
That's right. But it was funny. It was really funny, I was on there, and I'd already, I think, done a couple of them over here during that little siege. I decided to go back and do jury trials on all of them. But then, finally in Williams County, I just stood before the judge. I said, "Judge, could I read you something, please?" He said, "Sure, go ahead." I said, "Okay, this is the law that this is the law that this
black letter law
says that this is what you're charging me for." And I read the law, and I said, "You see, the person charged with that would have to have a car in the first place. I don't have a car. I haven't had a car in years." and I said, I think I said one other thing, and he says, and then he turned to the prosecutor and he says, "Let's dismiss this."
Well, we have several factors when it comes to traffic tickets. Now remember, everything these people do, because they have no authority to act in any capacity over you, everything these people do is by consent, and you allow them to do this to you because of your beliefs. So anything you believe is the reality. If you believe that the cop can ticket you and you have to pay or go to court or whatever, then that's your belief, and that's your problem, not necessarily reality. Let's take in just minor, let's take in municipalities. Let's say that it's a city ticket. Yours was a county? You went to JP court?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a JP court. I don't think. Yeah, it was in the main body of courts. It was one of the.
Oh, you mean county court of law?
I think so.
Wow, that's getting up there in the system. Ooh, naughty. Well, let's just start with cities. City of Houston, city of Austin, wherever you are, your city. A city is a corporate body. It has some form of corporateship. In Austin, we have, it is a, what happens when the people are the ones, now I can't even remember the kinds of corporations you can be. Home rule corporation is what we have here. That means we're on the top, then come the mayor and city council, then the city manager. That's not how it works out, but that's how it is on a schematic. So let's say it's the city manager. First of all, we're entitled to due process under the Constitution of the United States, and in all our state constitutions we're entitled to due process. Due process means to me that there would be a judicial body. Does that mean that to you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So is there a judicial body in a city?
Well,
it's a corporation, Ted.
It's a corporation, but that doesn't mean they don't put something up there that they're calling a judicial body.
Well,
like
no, they're a judge that is dependent on the city council or the mayor for hire.
Mm-hmm.
So do they have a judiciary? Yeah, like we're accustomed to the three branches of government. Legislative makes the laws, judiciary, whatever they do to the laws, and executive, that I don't know what they do either. But, well, I mean, really, in a corporation we only have executive. We don't have any other branches of government. So there is no judiciary in a corporation. So what they're saying is, you're subject to our laws because you're a member of the corporation. So if you're employed by a corporation, you have to follow the bylaws. And I guess they consider these traffic violations to be bylaws. I had a guy call me yesterday and he said, Lakeway has scheduled a hearing on my traffic ticket on the 7th of July. And I said, I wasn't aware you had a traffic ticket. He said, yeah, I got a citation and they threw me in jail for DWI. And the guy doesn't drink. He's been going to AA for years and takes it seriously. He's sober, but nevertheless, because the cop could read on his little curriculum vitae that he had been once upon a time found guilty of DWI. So that's what they charged him with a second time. So I said, so did you sign your name in the citation? And he said, no, I didn't sign the citation. He said, all it says on the citation is whatever the offenses were, DWI, et cetera, and the little municipal charge, in jail.
In jail?
In jail. In jail. So what happened was the cop gave him the ticket to sign, which would have been for Lakeway, not for the DWI, because they took him to jail for that. He said, sign here, and he said, no, I'm not signing. And he said, well, then I'm taking you to jail. He said, you're taking me to jail anyway. I'm not signing. Well, what he did is, he just didn't he didn't sign a contract, so he is not liable to go to court. When you sign that ticket, all it says is, I will appear on a date on or before such and such a date. So you've made a contract with the cop that you're going to appear at the court. It doesn't say what you're going to appear for. In Austin, they had complaints about this because once upon a time on their tickets, because a lot of people said, I don't have to do anything when I appear, they put, I will appear and plead. Well, they can't put that on a ticket, so that's not on there anymore. But it says, I will appear on or before such and such a date. So what's your contract?
To appear.
To appear on, and what happens what else is contractual when you appear?
Nothing.
Nothing. So what happens is they appear and they say, in some cases they'll say, how do you plead? I don't have enough information to plead. I haven't seen a complaint. Well, we'll get you a complaint. In most cases in traffic tickets, when you go, they'll give you some runaround. If you say anything other than how much can I pay you, they'll say, let's reschedule. So they reschedule another hearing so you can enter a plea or see a complaint or whatever it is they want to do to you. And then they say, okay, just sign this slip that your appearance date is such and such. So what have you done then when you sign that?
You've made a contract with them.
And what happens if you don't sign that contract?
I would think nothing.
Nothing. You're free to go. Because would you sign this so that you can reappear? No, thank you. I've fulfilled my contractual obligation by appearing.
Good. Smart man.
Well, that's all you did was appear. You didn't, and so but what people do is they think, oh, I've got this traffic ticket. I think I'll just pay it. Why? Does the city need the revenue? What did you do that you need to pay the city additional taxes outside of what all that you're already paying them? Did you commit a criminal act? Speeding. Did you hit somebody? Did you injure somebody else or your property? No. So what are you doing coming here in this traffic court? Why do you want to pay, and why do you want to argue with them?
There should be no reason.
There should be no reason. So what happens if you don't? If you appear on the date that you signed at the side of the road, because the last thing you want to do is argue with a cop at the side of the road. You don't want to tell him your rights. You don't want to tell them what the law is. You don't want to tell them what you found out at the last Patriot seminar you went to. You don't want to argue with a cop at the side of the road. So you sign the ticket, whatever he says, then you appear. That's your only contractual obligation, is to appear. So I have appeared. Well, we need you to come back. Oh, why do they need me to come back, Ted?
Shouldn't be any reason. You should have finished.
Yeah, but they don't have any money yet. That's why they need me to come back.
Yeah.
They don't have any money yet. I haven't paid them anything on my first visit. I'm not quite sure I want to enter into this court. You know, I more than happily made my appearance, but isn't that all I promised to do?
Besides that, I don't believe in this court anymore.
That's right. I don't believe you have. I don't believe you have the authority to take money from me, to take my property. I don't believe you do that. Don't ever say that. You don't want to tell them what your beliefs are, and they can't ask you what your beliefs are, but this is a Religious Freedom Act, and you are free to believe what you want to, and if it conflicts with their beliefs, I'd go with mine. So we give in too easily to these traffic tickets. We take them too seriously, and the amount of time that people spend on this stuff, and you need to learn the code, and you need to do this, and you got to do that. Why? Sign the ticket. I'm going to appear on such and such a date. You appear. How do you plead? I don't really think I have enough information to plead. I think I'm going to have to see a complaint before it, because a complaint is evidence of a crime. You don't see a complaint. What you see is a traffic, you accepted an offer from the cop to come to court because he stopped you. So without a complaint, you don't really know what it is they think you did. In other words, you got to see a charge, man. I mean, you just don't take it for granted that I was speeding, because, let's face it, folks, speeding only applies to commercial vehicles. You got to be carrying freight or passengers for hire. That's all it applies to. It doesn't apply to you and me. The speed limits are made for commerce. I'm not dealing in commerce. I don't have any fear of paying passengers. You know, I gave my neighbor a ride. Did I charge her $10 to take her to the store? No way, man. So we just have to understand authority. They don't have any authority over you. And authority is a big deal, because if they're going to sit in judgment, over you, that means they're elevated to a higher position than you are. And what does the Declaration of Independence say?
All men are created equal.
All men are created equal, and we all have equal authority. And I don't have authority over you, and you damn sure don't have authority over me. So we have to understand that and believe it. So you question everything. I was at a jailhouse, lawyer's house today. He just has recently gotten out of jail after a 7-year stint. It was supposed to be 10 years for something, of course, was made up and he didn't do. I mean, he doesn't say that because it doesn't do any good at this point. But the problem with sending these people to jail on crimes that haven't happened and don't exist is, boy, they get smart. Most of them, they get fine-tuned on that law. And I mean, this guy is smart. And so he's showing me in blacks, because the word he showed me in Black's dictionary was this, and it was the 6th edition, I believe, or the 5th, 6th. He's in Black's Law Dictionary is just a definition of terms put out by the bar, basically, the legal profession, what their terms mean, and it always helps to look up words, because you look in the regular dictionary, but you also have to look in the legal dictionary, because when they're dealing in what they call the law, which it doesn't even come close to being the law, but when they're dealing in the courts, you have to know what the words mean, because they mean something different. So he turned to the word counsel. And I never would have seen this in a million years, but he did. It says counsel, and then it tells how to pronounce counsel, and then there's a space and another space, and then the definition begins. Nowhere else in Black's is there that space. In Black's, it says, if it says statutory, it's a statutory, it says how to pronounce it, and then it goes on from there, right? You know, like the next thing over, next space over, it gives a definition. Not on counsel.
Not on council.
That's what caught his eye, because there's nothing after the pronunciation, and then one line is empty. And then the definition starts. So that drew his attention, because there's got to be something different about counsel, and it says a man or woman who gives advice to another in a court situation. It doesn't say, or technically it says that, it's not word for word, but it doesn't say an attorney. So what it says is, if you have counsel, that's your pal, your buddy, your friend. I could go with you to court. I mean, I've got a PhD in constitutional law. I should know something. I can go and help you. I can sit with your as your counsel. I don't have to have a bar card.
I like that.
But so that's what counsel says, and then we flip to the next page where it says counselor. This one is an attorney.
They're so smart up there.
They are. So in the Texas Constitution, it says if you're subject to a criminal charge, that you can represent yourself, you can have counsel, not counselor, you can have counsel or both. In the federal rules, it says that you have the right to, what does it say in the federal rules? Assistance of counsel. What's the Fifth Amendment say? Right to assistance of counsel, or it could say you have a right to a counselor, but you have to read these words, because counsel means anybody. Counselor means bar card carrying. So we have to understand the words in their phrases. So let's just take all the hassle out of traffic tickets. Take your ticket and go on. If you didn't kill somebody or hurt somebody or their property, you didn't do anything wrong. You're just exercising your right to travel, your right to, you can call it drive. I don't think you have to be that specific with your words. You can call it your right to drive. That comes from all of your rights. You have all the rights in the world from the Declaration of Independence. They're all unalienable, or inalienable, as some people like to call them. So you have the right to breathe, to walk, to earn a living, to drive your car. If you get stopped by a cop, it's normally for an infraction. Then they turn it into a crime. Because a crime, you have to pay a fine, but it's not really criminal. You committed no crime whatsoever. All you did was, as they say, garner an infraction. In other words, here's the line and you stepped over the line. You stepped outside the line. In most cases, you didn't do anybody harm. So if you get a ticket for speeding, you don't go in and argue that that's only for commercial vehicles, and you're not operating, you're not an operator at all, as a matter of fact, but you're not operating in commerce. You don't go in and argue all that stuff. Just appear, like it said, your promise to appear, your little signature on the thing. I promise to appear. Go and appear, and then when they'll sit you down with the prosecutor, and the prosecutor will say, well, yeah, I see you were speeding 5 miles over the limit. That's normally a $50 fine, but no, I jest. That's normally a $100 fine, but today only we've got a deal. We'll knock it down to $50. Well, do you want to take the deal? Or you want to appear and disappear? So you say, I'm going to have to think about that, because, you know, now that I hear you talking, I think that you're imputing or implying, implied contract, implying that I committed a crime. I don't think I did. So, you know, I'm going to have to see the charging instrument. And if the guy says, well, you know, you're going to have to plead before you do that, you say, well, I'm not ready to plead until I see a charging instrument. Don't argue. Just agree. Well, we're going to have to come back to see the charging instrument. Or if they slap something down in front of you that appears to be a charging instrument, you say, I'm going to have some time to contemplate the words in here, look them all up, and see what this actually means. Because I'm not versed in the law, and I don't know what these words, I'm sure, mean something different to you than they do to me. So I'm going to have to look it all up. So I can't make a determination on that today. Don't argue, don't fight, don't exercise your rights, don't say you're sovereign, don't blah, 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 blah. They don't care, they're not hearing. All he wants the money. So, well then, we're just going to have to give you time to think about this, so we'll reset this. Now, you need to come back. How's July 15th for you? Does that look good for you? Oh, yeah, well, I can't see a problem with that. Okay, if you'll just sign here, then you'll reappear on July 15th. No, I can't do that. What do you mean you can't do that? Normally they don't argue because they're not prepared for this, but I can't do that. Well, why not? Well, because I believe I've fulfilled my contractual obligation and I shan't return. End of story.